Don, can we, I guess, start taking you back to 1990? You started out as an intern here at Clark County, I assume maybe at the old Bridger building, or tell me about your first day, your first week, your first month, your first memories of Clark County
Oh boy,
government.
Randy, it's been so long ago. It's hard for me to remember some of it, but I can recall coming down and interviewing for the intern job back in 1990, fresh out of graduate school, and it's the first time I've ever been to Las Vegas. It was absolutely the big city for me. It was in the Bridger building, and it was a huge building to me and a big organization. And what I came to find out is that it was really not much different than other places I had worked before. So the sixth floor of the Bridger building, spent 5 years there, and ironically moved over to the sixth floor of the government center, so I've never worked off the sixth floor.
Who were some of the people that influenced you in those early days, Don, either in or out of the county?
The people that had the greatest influence on me and my career and my development from the early days on would be Pat Shalmy, a very iconic county manager. Had spent 13, 14 years in the position, and had such a calming demeanor to him, and was always in control. And if he wasn't, he never let you believe he wasn't in control. Great influence, great manager, and someone that I learned a lot from, even though I didn't have the opportunity to work very closely with him. Jim Lay is another person who I spent more time with. Assistant county manager, was a director of administrative services back in 1990. Jim actually hired me into my first county position. I've learned from every single manager and assistant county manager over the years. There have been far too many for me to mention, but most recently Virginia Valentine, excellent county manager and a good role model, and Tom Riley, two other people that come to mind. But I should probably stop because I could mention a whole bunch of people and a lot of very good managers, very good people, and I learned from every last one of them.
I don't want to just glide through the first 20 or so years of your career, but then you mentioned Virginia Valentine, who was your predecessor, and it was December 20th. I pulled this story out of the local newspaper, and Virginia she caught some people off guard, maybe with her resignation, maybe you, maybe not. But anyway, the RJ said at that time the county's rough circumstances could make the job less appealing to potential candidates and will limit the county's ability to offer a competitive salary, commissioners said. What do you think about that when you hear that? That was almost 6 years ago to the day.
Oh boy, there's a lot of truth to it. Getting back to your original point, Virginia's decision to leave did actually catch a lot of us off guard. I wasn't anticipating it, and it's a very short period of time from when she announced and when she actually left. And I guess through my 20 years working in the county manager's office at that point, and 20 years working with county managers and commissioners and groups of commissioners, that I felt as though I was prepared to step into her position. I worked very closely with, again, county managers over 20 years. It's nothing about the job that really surprised me, but to do the job is different than just watching someone do the job. And so that obviously was a big adjustment for me. But it's been a good 6 years.
And you stepped in at probably one of the bleakest times in Clark County's history. Our property and C taxes were down then. Sales taxes were down $71 million less than the peak. And about a fifth, or pardon me, 22% of county jobs were eliminated or not filled in that 5-year period. You had to do what you had to do.
Yeah, when Virginia left, it was a very difficult time in the county. It was a really bad time for me to assume her position, if you will, because we had gone 3-4 years at that point with a whole series of budget reductions, beginning with things like limiting overtime and soft hiring freeze. And as time went on and our financial condition didn't improve, the recession got worse, we had to move forward with more aggressive cost-cutting measures. And by the time that the spring of 2011 came around, we have done everything that we could to reduce our expenditures, short of having to eliminate positions. And that's essentially where I found myself, and we as an organization were. in the spring of 2011. So within 2 months of me assuming the position of county manager in 2011, I had the unenviable task of having to authorize across-the-board layoffs, and obviously it was a very difficult decision, but it was an easy decision in that it was the only decision that I had to make. There's nothing else that we could have done to address our circumstances, and certainly no way to start off my time as the county manager, but you don't get to pick and choose when you get to start.
And since that time, I know, Don, that one of your mandates, as well as with the county commissioners, was making it easier to do business with Clark County. Are you satisfied that the county as an organization is making it easier for outside people and outside businesses to do businesses with us? And is the county in good shape these days, would you say?
Am I satisfied? That's a yes and a no. I think we've made great progress in improving our service delivery and improving the time frames in which we get applications, we process applications, we approve applications, we do inspections, things like that. I'm not satisfied in that. There's always room for improvement, Randy, and that's certainly the case today. This is an organization that if you expect excellence, and I do, and certainly the senior county management and the board expect excellence, that you always have to be looking for opportunities to continue to improve. And so that will always be the case because of the organization that we are, and there is absolutely room for more improvement, and we owe the community that much.
What's been the biggest change in Clark County government in the 26 years you've been here, Don?
It's hard to say, but I would probably say that just the growth that we've gone through, and obviously the growth is a byproduct of the growth in the community. When I moved to Clark County, when I began in the county manager's office in 1990, the population of the county was about 650, 700,000 people. It was a relatively small community. It was a very small organization. And today we're over 2 million people. It's exponential growth, and the organization has gotten much bigger over that time frame. The demand for service has gotten much greater, and those are huge changes that we've gone through as an organization, as a community, and change in that case it's been challenging for us. So I would say that just the growth that we've experienced.
Let's talk about sports, I guess, for just a second here. There's been an arena, T-Mobile Arena has come in, been successful now in its first year of operation. There's been mechanism in place now to build a football stadium to attract an NFL team and give UNLV Rebels a place to play. How big of a strain does that, or what type of a strain does that put on Clark County government working with those private and public entities that are building stadiums and arenas?
Well, for the first time, we are on the verge of embarking on a real public-private partnership for a major facility, a 65,000 seat facility. The county will absolutely play a role in that in many different ways. First and foremost is in issuing $750 million worth of debt backed by room tax. The project doesn't get done without that, and because of the level of investment that we're putting into this facility, with the private sector stepping up on the other side, the county, long after I'm gone, will maintain active involvement in the project to make sure that the facility is built to meet the expectations that we have as a community, to meet the requirements of the statute, and to ensure that the taxpayers are protected from any exposure further down the road.
Don, I know something that you've been actively involved in through our boxing community. Jesse Vargas, Fernando Vargas, and Zab Judah, and some others up at setting up a boxing camp and boxing lessons for the youth up at Spring Mountain Youth Camp. I know that's something you're very proud of and helped set up. Talk a little bit about that and any other your proudest accomplishments.
As I look back over my 6 years as county manager, it's hard for me to really put my finger on things that I've personally been responsible for. Obviously, lots of decisions that have been made that I hope make this community a better community for our citizens, but I've not personally been involved in a lot of things that affect people's lives. And this is one of those examples, something that uh, felt strongly about a couple years ago with the relationships that I have with professional fighters and the needs that I know exist. Worked together with the professional athletes that you mentioned to start a boxing program up at Spring Mountain Youth Camp, not to teach kids how to box or to put them on a path to be a professional fighter, because very few of our kids in this community actually reach the level of professional athlete, but really just to create an outlet for them to get into something that's productive, give them an opportunity to get away from the things that have got them into trouble when they get out of the institution, and then to teach them basic life lessons that we all get from sports, and that's the ability to deal with adversity, discipline, commitment, all the things that to get through a very rigorous program, a 6-month program in the Spring Mountain Youth Camp boxing program. You have to exhibit those qualities, and those are qualities that'll serve these young men for the rest of their lives. So it was never about boxing. Obviously, the professional athletes create a level of excitement, and the interaction that they've had with the kids are something that the kids will remember for the rest of their lives, and the program won't go away. In fact, next week we'll be headed back up to Spring Mountain Youth Camp. We'll bring the two-time two-division world champion Jesse Vargas back up there, and the fighters that you've mentioned, as well as other fighters, Sean Porter, Antonio DeMarco, they've all spent time up at Spring Mountain Youth Camp, and the kids have thoroughly enjoyed it, and the fighters have enjoyed it, and it's just a way for professional athletes to give back to their community.
Very cool, very cool. And finally, your successor, Yolanda King, she's been one of your top lieutenants, a financial wizard, and it's business as usual, and it's kind of been that way. As you said, it was seamless between you and Virginia Valentine. Prior to that, Tom Riley, Dale Askew. Pretty much the county manager has been a talented administrator here on the 6th floor, moving into that top job. It's again, business as usual here in Clark County, right?
It is, and every person that you mentioned had spent years in this organization, and Yolanda's no different. Yolanda spent, roughly 27 years in the county, most of those years in the county manager's office. She, over that time period, has developed an incredible understanding of this organization and its diverse responsibilities, how we do business, the policies that we operate under. No one, in my opinion, understands this organization better than Yolanda King does. And she'll do a fantastic job. She will, like I did 6 years ago, will hit the ground running. I have complete confidence in her. She'll do a great job.
And finally, I feel obligated to ask, I'm sure you've been fielding thousands, hundreds of thousands of job offers. Do you want to tell us what's the future for Don Burnette and your family here in Clark County?
I haven't received 100,000 job offers. I really don't know, Randy. I've always felt that I wanted to finish this job the same way I started, and that's with a complete commitment. I'm going to work to the last day. To use a sports analogy, I play to the whistle, so I'm going to work until my last day next Thursday. And when I leave, I'll take a little time to think about what's ahead for me and decide, of the opportunities that may be available, what makes the most sense for me. So today I can't tell you what that is, and I really don't know what that is, Randy.
Great. Well, as a county employee and a member of this county that you've helped make my life better, I appreciate it. And on behalf of all of us in Clark County, thank you very much, Don.
Thank you, Randy. It's been my pleasure.